So guess who's chuckling and gloating over the oil crisis? You think it's the oil companies? You think it's OPEC? How about Russia? At full oil production, Russia is cashing in. Barrels of oil like barrels of honey feeding the Russian bear. But the big question is, does Vladimir Putin and Russia have a hidden agenda in watching oil continue to skyrocket? Here now is former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense Jed Babin and Ken Timmerman, Newsmax.com contributing editor, author of St. Peter's Bones. Ken Timmerman, start with you. Russia is now making money hand over fist because of skyrocketing oil prices. I'm reading that they are going to build or accelerate the building of pipelines through the Black Sea, pipelines through the Baltic Sea that will absolutely dominate Russian authority over Europe, Ken Timmerman. Is that part of the Russian strategy?
I think clearly it is, Larry. And they've been trying to build these pipelines for some time. There's been political resistance in Europe, and the Russians are now going to make the case this is the time. But they're also going to do some other things. They're in the middle of a strategic modernization of all of their nuclear weapons. They're going to be fielding new generations of ballistic missiles in the next 10 years. They are modernizing all of their conventional military forces with this money from the oil revenues that they're getting with the increased prices. And Larry, all of that stuff, especially the conventional weaponry, is being exported right away to countries such as Iran.
Wow. So, Jed Babin, do you agree with Ken Timmerman that Russia is using the oil honeypot not only to dominate Europe in terms of pipelines for oil and natural gas, but also to build strategic weapons? And that is, of course, regarding the face-off with the United States. Do you agree with what Ken is saying?
Yeah, I think Ken is substantially right. I think the only thing he left out is the fact that they're investing heavily in cyber war. And it was just a couple of years ago that Georgia and Estonia suffered massive cyber attacks from Russia. These guys are intent on rebuilding the Soviet empire. Putin is a guy, look, what else can you say? This is a man who hunts whales with a crossbow for recreation, Larry. These people are very tough. They aim at restoring Russian power over the former satellite states of the Soviet Union. And right now, I would bet you a good lunch at a restaurant of your choice that they are helping stir up the trouble in Libya. They can do that covertly by doing what the Brits unsuccessfully did a week ago by trying to reach out to the rebels. But Lord only knows what else they're doing. They're probably sending people in there with arms, with training to help the rebels, maybe to keep that situation unstable and keep the price of oil going up.
Ken Timmerman, let me ask you what you think this means for the United States. And I want to add this factual point. Russia is now taking some of this oil honeypot and building another sovereign wealth fund, okay? And guess who's advising them? American bankers. This from the Financial Times. Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs, Jamie Morgan of J.P. Morgan, Steve Schwartzman of Blackstone, and Brian Moynihan of the Bank of America. Are these guys, these bankers, unwittingly helping Russia to damage the United States?
Well, it may be witting, Larry. We don't know. But here's what I can tell you for sure, is that we have laws in this country that have been set up to allow divestment of companies engaged working in countries such as Iran that are supporting terrorism. Those laws don't exist in Russia. If you're a pension fund here, if you're a retiree and you want to make sure that your investment dollars don't go to supporting terrorism, there are now laws on the book to help you do that. If your money is going into Russia, you don't know. It could be going into Gazprom. It could be going into some of these nuclear companies that are selling technology to Iran and to Syria. So you could be, your money could be going to fund terrorism in places like Iran.
Jed Babin, the redeployment and reinvestment in strategic nuclear weapons, okay, that's going to be aimed at Europe, but those weapons are going to be aimed at the United States. So why are our bankers, I don't get this, why are our bankers helping them to do this?
Because we injected corruption, Larry. Goldman Sachs, in a great capitalist system we used to have, should have gone under. We saved them, we bailed them out unwisely and corruptly, and now they're going into Russia with this. Any shareholder of any bank who believes that that money will be safe in Russia should look up Mr. Khodorkovsky and the prosecutions against him. This is a totally corrupt regime. It is a corrupt business environment, and this is an unreasonable risk for any business to be taking by in putting money in there, this is going to be a big problem for those shareholders, and we dare not bail them out
I got to
again.
get out, but we're going to have you gentlemen back on. This is a very difficult story. The Russian bear up to no good. Why are American bankers helping it as they dominate Europe and seek to dominate the United States? Thank you, Jed Babin. Many thanks to Ken Timmerman.